Do you ever have that movie that you think's overrated that bothers you, or just you really can't stand, but everyone else you know seems to like adore it and stuff like that? Well, I have plenty of them, and I'm sure we all have at least one of them. And being a critic myself, I have a lot of unpopular opinions that so many people disagree with. And today, since this is a popular thing to do, to share your unpopular opinions, and because I have a bit of a busy week, I decided I would take my time and do a video like this, which is also a bit different from my other ones. Now, before we start off, I want to say this is just my opinion, okay? It doesn't mean I'm right, I'm wrong, because I know there's going to be like some morons or fantards coming in the comments saying, "Oh, Kush, you're a stupid idiot, this is an amazing movie, blah, 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 blah." And they're going to use the excuse like, "Oh, it got good reviews, it won awards, or everyone loves it." Now, first off, let me say, good reviews don't really matter, because many times the critics and audience have disagreed on things. And awards, if movies like Shark Tale get nominated for an Oscar, then the awards can be pretty biased and stupid. And with a lot of people liking a movie, well, a lot of people support Trump. Does that mean I should support Trump now? Then remember, this is all just my opinion, and I'm here to give you the top 10 movies I hate that everyone else loves. Number 10. Avatar. When this movie first came out, it was all over the place. Everyone at my school, in my family, they were all talking about, saying it's amazing movie, the best film of the decade, it's yada yada yada. I saw it expecting to like it, and I'm just like, what the heck is this crap? It was long, it was boring. Yeah, even when I was a kid, I didn't like this movie. But first off, let me say, yes, the effects are fantastic in this film, but that's also, I know this is gonna piss off some people, but that's also a big flaw it has. Wait, let me explain. Yes, the effects are beautiful, but however, with these 3D characters, computer animated backgrounds, and these live action casts, it doesn't make me feel like I'm in their world. What would have been better, in my opinion, is they had like a live action backgrounds of CGI characters. That would have made it feel more realistic. Apart from the effects, what else I didn't like about this movie was that its story was just so cliche, and the way they portrayed it was stupid. We've heard it tons of times. Dancing with Wolves, Fern Gully, Pocahontas. Even when those films did it, the story was reused many times. So why did they do it in the late 2000s? Most of the characters are very generic. I barely remember a lot of them. And the story's way too long. We get like an hour and a half's worth of filler. I feel bad. Like, I sat through this in theaters, and the whole time I was like, when's this gonna end? When's it's gonna end? And everyone says like, oh no, it was good. Yeah, the effects were dazzling, but the characters were generic, the story was too long, it was reused. And how this film is the highest grossing movie, which should soon hopefully surpass by Endgame by the time I post this video, it just boggles my mind. I'm not sure how expensive the tickets were, and I know it was re-released for a short time, but still, the fact that this movie is currently the highest grossing movie in the world, which should be surpassed by Endgame, hopefully by the time I post this video, this boggles my mind. It's definitely a movie that's always seemed to get under my skin. Number 9. Back to the Future. Now, this is a film I always seem to piss off at least one person, but usually a bunch of people when I say I don't like it. They're like, what? You don't like this? What? You don't like this movie? And first off, let me say, I love classics. I love classics that made big impacts. I love them. But this movie it doesn't do it for me. It really doesn't. And the big reason why is because it has so many cliches that I can't stand, and the way they're used here, I really don't like. Like the wimpy guy getting the pretty girl in the end, focusing too much on the romance, the stupid bully. I hate cliches like that, and the way they're handled here just makes the movie not so good. And besides Doc and Marty, a lot of the characters are just so uninteresting, and they don't have proper development until the end. Like, the dad is the wimpy nerd that somehow gets the pretty girl in the end, despite the fact that he didn't do that much. He did punch the bully, but that wasn't until the end of the movie. The mom being the generic love interest, and the bully just being this big idiot that does nothing but beat up the wimpy guy and just be a moron. Don't get me wrong, the effects are good, and the story had a unique style, and the theme song, it kicks ass. Just, I think the movie would have been much better. It was just about Doc and Marty, because this rom-com and stupid teen romance takes up too much of the film, in my opinion. And not to mention, I know that she's just like 16, 17, but the mom just fell in love with Marty way too quickly. I know she was at that age, but still, even at that age, I think they could have done a better job developing their romance.
Number 8. Juno.
Now, this is a film that I didn't exactly watch until a while after, because first off, I wasn't interested in it, and second, I was assigned to watch it in my health class. And when I watched it, like, a lot of people in my class, they enjoyed it, but I thought it was dumb. First off, let me say, it has an interesting idea for, like, teenage girls, someone they could relate to when they get pregnant, but the way they handle it here, it's just, in my opinion, so poor. Like, she just like, oh, let's have sex with this guy, and despite the fact they don't get any protection, they just go into it without thinking. With something as serious as that, I think even at that age, they could have thought it over a bit better. I'm sure they could have done that. And the parents are just so chill about them having sex. The mom of the boy is just like, oh, you had sex with my son. No. If someone has sex with your child, you should be furious at them, like, no, you're not allowed in my house. You be gone. Not to mention that the family that she was gonna give her baby to, the father was just, what a dick. I swear, he was cool at the beginning, but then he's just like, nope, I gotta go because so-and-so. What a dick. I can't believe. And also the pregnant superhero comic thing, I thought that was kind of dumb, because I know they're just fictional characters, but how can a woman want to fight crime when she's pregnant? That's stupid. She needs to be cautious over her baby. I'm not sure if it was as a way for someone to relate to, but still, that's a stupid way to make a character relatable, in my opinion. Just making it a superhero. So in my opinion, this film was just, it didn't get to me like a lot of people got to it. It really didn't.
Number 7. The Hunger Games.
I read the book to The Hunger Games. I didn't read the whole thing, but from what I read, I thought it was a pretty good book. So when the movie was coming out, I was expecting it to be like a fun film, but it was way too edgy. I know it was supposed to be a serious, dark story, but here it's just teen drama and a predictable story. It's really boring. Not to mention all the characters just seem the same worrywart. It's just like, oh, I'm so scared. I know they're just teenagers, but I think they could show more into their character. Not to mention PETA, I think that was his name. How did a tough girl like Katniss fall for a wimpy coward like him? It boggles my mind. He barely did anything for her. And most of the background characters were just there for a quick scene, and then they died. Not to mention that the president, he was just, I know he's a bad guy, but if you want to honor soldiers, why not send soldiers into a fight like that instead of just picking out children like that? It makes me sick, because I know the president isn't exactly a good guy, but from what I remember, there were other good guys that were part of the government, and the government in their world seemed like it worked well together. So I think they could have like hired soldiers instead. Yeah, I barely remember most of the characters because they were so boring and uninteresting, and it was just a really boring, edgy movie. It's an overly edgy movie, in my opinion.
Number 6. Big Hero 6.
When this movie was first announced, it was like, they were trying to like, because after Frozen came out, they wanted to give like boys a chance with like cool like a Iron Man Power Rangers theme, which had potential, but when the trailers first came out, I didn't think it was that interesting, and even when I saw it, I didn't like it. To be honest, I will admit, after rewatching it a bit, I wouldn't say it was as bad as how I thought it was back in 2014, and I was being a little unfair to it, but even today, I'm still not really a fan of the movie. For the first off, the weakest part being the characters easily. I know a lot of people think Baymax is cute, but he is just, in my opinion, so obnoxious. He's just like, "Hi, I'm Baymax." On a scale to 1 to 10, it was just really annoying. I just pop that stupid balloon. And not besides Hero and Baymax, the side characters were so one-dimensional. They barely had a big purpose. They were basically emo bitch, coward, nerd girl, and crazy fanboy. And not to mention the Fred, him having Stan Lee as his rich father. That was dumb. That was really dumb. I didn't like how they did that. The Stan Lee cameo, even the Stan Lee cameo in this movie, I didn't like. I was just like, wait, like after the credits to show Stan Lee's cameo. Stan Lee's a legend. If you're gonna make a Stan Lee cameo, you gotta do it better than that. Like the film would have been much better if it was just about Hero and Baymax. And speaking about characters, the villain, I forget his name. He was just by far the worst Disney villain. I know it's based on a Marvel comic, but they consider this movie Disney, so it just him in this movie was just complete garbage. I hated it. He could have been much more creative, like making like an evil unicorn or like a bunch of ninjas or like make like force he could be like Gara, like making all these creative weapons, outsmarting people. But he's just like, "Roo the microbots, roo the microbots, roo." And not to mention, a lot of the humor in this movie wasn't even that funny. I will admit the puberty joke was good, but besides that, it's just like random, like, "Oh, potato chips." And the scene when what's it called? They're going to stop the bad guy on the island, and they find out what happened to his daughter. After they took out Baymax's chip and he beats up everyone, Hero's just like, "Oh, we gotta get out of here." He leaves his team back on the island. How did they get back from the island? Was there like a boat there that they could just hijack and get there? That was just stupid. Animation, well, it wasn't bad. It just they could have been so much more creative, mixing San Francisco and Tokyo, two extremely populated cities. It could have been so much more creative. Like the Golden Gate could have had like neons on them, and like there could have been just like so much more. They wasted a lot of creativity for the animation, especially how they portrayed how the city worked. It should have been way more populated. Even at the area time when they're driving at night, even in 2 in the morning, if it's a mix of San Francisco and Tokyo, there should be at least a handful of people out here like, "Ooh, what the hell is this?" And no one else hears reports, like especially if it's that late at night. It should be like all over the news, but it's just these 6 heroes that I don't want to know about this. It should have been called Big Hero 2 because Hero and Baymax were the only 2 characters that had a good part. And with Tadashi, his death seems so forced. He's just like, hey, like they're gonna go out to dinner, then they're like, "Hero, I need to talk to you." That was stupid. His death, like if he had to talk to him, it could have waited till they got there to the restaurant. They come out, have a little talk. Tadashi's death was just so forced to me, and not to mention they're just like our parents died. Like, how did they die? Why did they die? Was it a car accident? Did they both have cancer? I don't know. I wish that they went more into these characters. Usually Disney is really good at developing their characters, but here they just do a crap job. And and also I know it won an award, but the award was BS, and I usually don't agree with the awards anyway. Lego Movie should have got nominated for Best Animated Feature and win it, or the second How to Train Your Dragon, which were much better. Not to mention, not too long after this film came out, like no one talked about it anymore. It just died out. Like it was popular for like a month, but then no one talked about it anymore. It just died out.
Number 5. Birdman.
This is another film I was expecting to like. I wanted to like this movie. I tried liking it like I did with Back to the Future. And I was assigned to watch it in a film class. I was like, "Oh, here, we're watching this movie in a film class." But just, I thought it was so dumb. Like, don't get me wrong, the way the big shot for an entire movie did take a lot of work, but here it looks like a big mess. Like, each scene is too long. You can tell the actors aren't prepared a lot of the time. Sometimes the angles aren't very good. The long shot isn't made for the whole movie. Like, if it was like a short film, like a 10 to 20 minute long movie, I think that would have been much better. But making it like a whole like hour and a half, 2 hours movie is just too long. The angles can't always be good. The scenes would get boring. So for a full movie, that was a bad idea. The story and characters just are also dumb. Like, there was no main conflict in the story, not even a goal they had to achieve. I understand that they couldn't give much because the main focus was the long shot, but I still think they could have done better than that. And by the end, when the guy just shoots his nose off, I didn't get that. What was wrong with him? They didn't explain, like, if he actually had those superpowers of the Birdman or not. Like, was a Birdman a character he acted as in the past? Was, like, did he used to be a superhero? Was it a character he made up? I don't know. They don't explain because he's meditating while floating. He's flying at the end. And then when his daughter looks out the window and looks up and smiles, like, she can't find him in the hospital room. She looks up, smiles. So did he have the powers or not? I don't know. It's not explained. He's flying around the city one time, and no one seemed like, oh my god, that man is flying. Do people know his identity, that he was the Birdman? Yeah, I really wish they explained things better. And the other characters, I don't remember much about them, so I don't think they're even worth discussing because of how boring and one-dimensional they were. I actually fell asleep during this film. Like, it was in my film class, but we were in like a mini theater. My teacher was in the back of the room, so I could just be like, oh, I'm going to sleep. It was just so boring. And if I think it won Best Picture, I think it did, but like I said, I usually don't agree with the awards anyway.
Number 4, Titanic.
For the other movies, like before this one, I would say I don't hate, I just don't like. But starting with these are the movies that really start to get under my nerve. Titanic is definitely a great example of a movie that gets under my nerve. The costumes and set are beautiful, but the story and characters, oh my god. How does a cool, confident guy like Jack fall for a selfish brat like Rose? Like, they were early 20s, I think, so they should be more mature about that. And Rose was just a cowardly brat that did nothing special for Jack. Even by the end of the movie, when those two guys were took Jack, he's just like, you did nothing for me. Bitch, he did everything for you. How could you throw that in his face like that? What the hell, you bitch? She was on the boat, he was on the Titanic, and he told her to stay there, they'll meet up, but then she just jumps back on. How could you make a move that selfish? And I doubt she even loved him because she barely did anything for him. And at the end, Jack could have climbed up there on the door with her, but he was just like, I gotta sacrifice myself for my girlfriend, despite the fact that she did nothing for me. Not to mention the romantic scenes when he's drawing her naked or they're having sex in the car, I think it was. I thought those were dumb. It boggles my mind how this movie is like 11 Oscars. Like, I can see like best costumes and stuff like that, but best picture and how this movie was for a time the highest grossing film, it just drives me insane. It was just like a stupid romantic story. I don't think even James Cameron enjoyed directing it. You know, even that one Mythbusters episode, like, he's just like, oh, I'm just going by the script. So I hope he didn't enjoy directing it, because James Cameron, he's done better than that. So, and he beat his own record with Avatar.
Number 3, Matilda.
This was a film that my family loved. They thought it was a cute movie. Other people I knew loved. And just, even when I was a kid, I didn't enjoy this film. I thought it was too dark and the humor wasn't that great. How did they get this big mega bitch to work at this like kindergarten, first grade area? Like, she was like, you know, like torturing the kids. She was like threatening them like with death. How did she get that job? It drives me insane. And this little girl, Matilda, that must be terrifying. Why do parents let their kids go to this school? Is it a private school? It must have been a private school, so the government didn't know. But still, if I was a parent, I would take my kids out of that school and I would report it. And Matilda, she was really obnoxious in my opinion. Most of the kids were annoying here, and the other characters I didn't really care for because they were so uninteresting. It boggles my mind how defensive people are about this film. Like, it's a great movie, don't you touch it. I hate movies when there's like a super mega bitch as a teacher. I've had bad teachers, but they weren't that bad. I know there are bad teachers out there, but the way they handle it like this, like, the teacher should have a good reason to get the job, shouldn't just be like a big mega bitch like that. And yeah, so the characters weren't very interesting. The story was obnoxious and had a dumb plot to it. Yeah, and it was too dark as well.
Number 2, The Big Lebowski.
For a lot of movies, I'm able to sit through most of it, but this is one of the few movies that I actually walked out on because it's so boring. Yes, I do know there's a famous meme of like, yeah, that's your opinion, man, which I agree it's a great comeback, but just the story was so dumb to me. Most of the jokes weren't funny. It was just like these losers living their lives. And like the painting lady, I didn't like her at all. She did stupid things like paint while she was naked. I think she did that to overcome her embarrassment, but I still thought that was a dumb way to do it. And most of the characters were just annoying and stupid. I didn't like any of them. And there wasn't much of a story to it. It was just these losers living their lives. The guy with the glasses was an asshole. And everyone they knew were assholes to them. I don't know who I should root for, the losers or the assholes, because the losers were idiots who had nothing interesting about them, and the assholes were just assholes. This is one of the very few movies that I actually walked out on because it was so boring. The Big Lebowski should be called the Big Idiots, if you ask me.
And the number 1 movie I hate that everyone else loves is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Now this is the one film that I absolutely despise, that I just, horrible. I don't see how, like, I can understand how some other people enjoy the other movies on this list, but this one, I don't see how anyone is able to like it. I don't. I love Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. I love those guys. That they made the Lego Movie, Spider-Verse, and 21 Jump Street. Before those 3 great films, they had this overrated rubbish, which I hate. Almost everything about. The animation is just, oh my god. Well, I'll admit the food looks good and they are somewhat creative, but the character design, they're so ugly. Movements are just like, it makes me disturbed to look at these characters. I just hate almost all these characters. The main character, Flint, I think that was his name, he was an idiot who's just a generic protagonist, the wimpy guy getting the cute girl, and this generic story that one guy was a loser at first, but then he's does something good that makes people like him. The way it's handled here, I don't like. And most of the characters, like, there was the news lady, I forget her name. She was just like the generic love interest. The baby chicken guy, who was the generic bully. I will admit, some of the jokes made me chuckle, but most of them did. It was mostly like joke after joke after joke after joke. And I will admit, they did have an interesting idea, like the only thing they eat is sardines. And one guy's trying to help them, but it makes me think, couldn't they, like, take a boat to get more water, get more food, or like plant some plants? Like, they must have some kind of vegetation. Not to mention the mayor, he's a generic villain. The only characters I pretty much like this movie were the policeman and Cal, because they actually had a nice father-son relationship. That, the policeman, he loves his son, wants his son to be successful, and the one ice cream scene, like, he's like, happy birthday, Cal, that was nice, but it was just too quick. And overuse of these stupid jokes, ugly character designs, and most of all, just a stupid story, stupid characters. I hated everything about it. And I'm not gonna go see the sequel because I've heard the sequel's even worse. Well, there you have it. The top 10 movies I hate, but everyone else loves. Remember, this is all just my opinion. I know some crazy fanboys are gonna come in the comments like saying, blah, 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 but this is just my opinion. And as a way to make up to all of you, next week I'm gonna do the top 10 movies I like that everyone else doesn't seem to like. I'll do that next week for your guys' revenge. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. This was me, Kush. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you have an idea for my show, go to the comments below or to the email shown up there. Thank you again for watching and have a great day.